When you think about AI, your mind probably jumps to code, complex data, and, all that high-tech stuff. But what if the most important part of building AI isn't the machine at all? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and explore the very human process of building AI and how we can do it the right way. So, to really get our heads around this, let's start with a kind of weird question. What if building an AI started with a sandwich? I know, it sounds a little strange, but just stick with me here. This simple idea from an MIT curriculum is actually going to be our guide for understanding the entire journey of AI development, from the first spark of an idea to its real-world impact. All right, so first up, let's talk about who is actually building this stuff today. Because the answer is changing, and it's changing fast. A whole new generation is stepping up to the plate with fresh ideas. It's time to meet the new AI innovators. And this is a huge deal. I mean, not that long ago, you pretty much needed a PhD just to get in the door. But that's not the case anymore. Programs like the one at UMBC are teaching these skills to middle and high schoolers. And they're not just learning to code, they're learning to think like product managers, to take their own curiosity and shape it into real-world responsible ideas. Okay, so what do these new innovators actually need to get going? Well, every builder needs a toolkit, right? And for AI, that toolkit starts with 5 foundational concepts. So let's open it up. First up, algorithms. The easiest way to think about an algorithm, it's just a recipe. Seriously, it's the set of instructions the AI follows to get something done. Just like with our sandwich, you need your ingredients, your inputs, and a series of steps to get to that final product. It's the basic logic behind everything. But here's the thing, a recipe just follows instructions, right? It doesn't learn. For that, you need neural networks. This is basically the AI's brain. It works a lot like our own brains, forming new connections and recognizing patterns. It's what lets an AI do really complex stuff, like recognizing your face or understanding your voice. And for an AI to learn from us, it has to understand us. That's where natural language processing, or NLP, comes in. It lets machines make sense of human language. You know that feeling when you're talking to a customer service chatbot and it actually gets what you're saying? Yeah, that's NLP. It's the essential bridge between our world and the machines. Okay, but how does an AI get smart in the first place? The answer is machine learning. This is the process of feeding an AI just massive amounts of data so it can learn to make its own predictions. And this is maybe the most important thing to remember, and we'll come back to it. The AI is only as smart, or, as biased, as the data we train it on.
And finally, if an AI is going to interact with the real world, it needs to see. It needs eyes. And that's computer vision. It's what lets machines interpret what they're seeing, whether it's a self-driving car navigating traffic or a facial recognition system. It's incredibly powerful, but just like our own eyes, it's not always perfect.
So, with these big ideas in their back pocket, innovators are using this incredible suite of tools to make it all happen. They're brainstorming ideas with ChatGPT, digging into user feedback with Craftful, designing prototypes in Figma. These tools are making it possible to build things faster and easier than ever before. All right, so you've got the concepts, you've got the tools, you're ready to go, right? Well, not so fast. Because building an AI isn't like following a blueprint. It's a lot more like setting sail into the great unknown. The thing is, AI projects are messy. They're full of uncertainty, experiments, and a lot of dead ends. So how in the world do you plan for something that's totally unpredictable? You can't just have a rigid, step-by-step plan and expect it to work. You need a completely different way of thinking. And that is exactly where the agile approach comes into play. It's basically a mindset that flips the old way of doing things on its head. It says, you know what? People and how they work together are more important than rigid processes. A working product is better than a mountain of paperwork. And responding to change is way more valuable than just blindly following a plan. So what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, firms like Nexocode use a proven process that looks something like this. You start with a kickoff to really understand what people need. Then you jump into a quick design sprint to test out ideas. From there, you build a small version with real data to prove it works. Only then do you deploy the whole thing. It's all about taking small, smart, deliberate steps. Okay, and this is where we get to the absolute heart of the matter. We've talked a lot about the how of building AI. Now we have to face the should.
This is all about the human equation.
Let's go back to our sandwich. We said an algorithm is just a recipe, right? Inputs, steps, and an output. It sounds simple, but the real question isn't what's the recipe. The real question is who are we making the sandwich for? Because every single algorithm, every piece of tech affects real people, the stakeholders. And look, this is not some high-level academic debate. In that same MIT curriculum, middle schoolers actually use these ethical matrices to map out every single person who could be affected by their sandwich algorithm, from their parents all the way to the farmers who grew the wheat for the bread. It's just incredible proof that anyone, and I mean anyone, can and absolutely should be thinking about the human side of all this. So why is this so critical? Well, listen to this quote from computer scientist Alan Kalskan. Computers learn how to be racist, sexist, and prejudiced in a similar way that a child does. The computers learn from their creators, us. It's a chilling reminder that our own biases, whether we know we have them or not, get baked right into the code. And make no mistake, this is not a what-if scenario. This is happening right now. As the Kapoor Foundation has pointed out, biased facial recognition has actually led to people being wrongfully arrested. Mortgage algorithms have denied loans to people of color at higher rates. Hiring tools have screened out perfectly qualified women. When we fail on the ethics, real people's lives are turned upside down. Okay, so after all that, where do we go from here? Knowing all the risks, how do we actually move forward? Well, the final step is about putting all these pieces together and making a conscious choice to build the AI future we want. But here's the good news. There is a massive upside to getting this right. When you combine a responsible process with powerful AI, the results can be amazing. Take the finance world, for example. One company used AI to manage risk, and it didn't just help them become more agile, it actually reduced their operating costs. It just goes to show you that building AI responsibly isn't some roadblock. It's actually a huge competitive advantage. And that brings us full circle. AI isn't some kind of alien intelligence that just appeared. It's a mirror. It reflects the data we give it, the values we build into it, and the priorities of the people who created it. So in the end, the biggest question isn't really about the technology. It's about us. As we build this future, what are we going to choose to show it?